What's up, guys? The red light is on. It's Wednesday night of a UFC pay-per-view, so we got to bring in the big guns on. My name is Dave Van Auken. To my left, Doc Sports' own Rafael Esparza. Ralph, what's up, my man? How are you?
I am doing well. What a huge weekend. We have UFC at Utah. We have college football, baseball, playoffs. You know what else happens on Friday? The puck drops on the ice. The NHL returns on Friday. WWE Bad Blood on Saturday. Why doesn't the NBA and college basketball start this weekend too? Why does let's just get it all going on?
Big milkshake, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got tomorrow night. We got the Falcons and the Bucks. It's crazy. Sunday night, you got the Cowboys and Steelers. If that's not the two biggest, matchup, NBC's licking their chops right now.
That's a huge matchup in my household. I'm a twin, and my brother grew up a Dallas Cowboy fan, huge Tony Dorsett fan. I grew up a huge Franco Harris fan. So Steelers are not my favorite team. Love Franco Harris, and I love that Steelers team back in the 80s. So there's a steak dinner on the line Sunday night. Then the next time the twin brothers see each other, someone's buying a steak dinner. So it's a huge evening for me Sunday night.
I like it. Talking about steak dinners, you can win a lot of steak dinners betting on UFC 307 this weekend. Guys, our thing, we're not going to break down the fights. We're not going to give you a big preview of each fight. We just will talk about it and trends and lines. And I got questions for Rafael, and he will give all the answers. So this is what we do here. My first question out of the book, I kind of, we made a post about it today. Alex Pereira was in one book a minus 500. I just see he's minus 450. So the money's going down on his side, but still, that's a massive betting favorite, right? He is a high level betting favorite. My first question to you is, do you guys get more action when there's a huge favorite and an underdog, or do you get more action when it's a tight, when it was Gaethje and Poirier, it was like minus 130 plus 115 on the return? Do you guys get more or less action when you have a big favorite?
We get more parlay action on it. So since that's the last fight, a lot of parlays will be key to that one. So It may look like you have a lot of action since that's the last fight when you click on there and see what the win percentage or what if we win or lose on that fight, because that's claiming all the parlays. Now, when it's a closer fight, let's say with Pena and Pennington, that's going to be a close fight. So we'll have a lot of great two-way actions, single fights, single action on that fight. But a big favorite like minus $5 at DraftKings right now on Alex Pereira, mostly $5 favorites I'm seeing right now. There's a couple 460s, 450s out there. But this one will probably, I don't think he'll close $5. Me and you've had this discussion many times. The dog money will be barking all evening long. Because who wants to bet if you're going to the fight or you're having a party at the house? Who wants to bet a minus $5 on that? So they're going to be looking for the dog to bark.
With that being said, two things I'll hit on the main event. One, first of all, my opinion, I love Alex in this fight, and I love him inside the distance. So there's my edge right off the rip. But I will say this, and I thought about this, and the best analogy I can give you, Ralph, and you can agree or disagree, and we'll love to talk about it. When Khabib Nurmagomedov fought Justin Gaethje, Khabib never gave Gaethje the opportunity to win the fight. It was I'm going to run right through you, wrestle and grapple, and Gaethje never threw off. It wasn't an option. Alex Pereira will give Rountree the opportunity. Will he land? Will he make? He loves countering more, so he wants to get thrown out first. My point is, and I do love Alex, but I do think Alex Pereira will give Khalid Rountree Jr. a shot to win this fight. He will.
I agree, and he reminds me of the boxing cliche that you hear all the time. He wants to get some rounds in. I think Pereira goes in knowing that he's going to win this fight with one punch coming out of nowhere. It's almost like, I know your boy watches this. It's almost like an RKO out of nowhere. That punch of Alex Pereira is going to come somewhere in this one. So, I agree. He takes fights just because I think he likes the action. He likes the counter action. As you said, I'm a little bit shocked that the round prop was 1.5 over minus 125. There's a couple minus 130s out there just because sometimes Pereira does start off slow. I mean, and I can totally see that where he doesn't want to make a quick mistake, maybe do some dancing around, maybe some short jabs early, try to find his distance when it comes to his punches and his kicks. Same thing with Rountree. He's going to want to find his distance early. So I think it'd be a slow tango in the first round, and maybe the middle or the late of the first round we'll start seeing some action. So a little shocked on the 1.5 on the total, on the juice only being -130. Like I said, -125.
Yeah. I guess I do understand why they under is so heavily bet. Is the favorite, right? Because I can see. I think Rountree is going to be aggressive. I think Rountree knows the longer this fight goes, the worse it is for him, right? Like sooner or later, Alex is going to get him. I think his option to win is to blitz him, to be aggressive, leg kicks, body, shots. I think he is going to throw. I actually think maybe the first minute. I get what you're saying. They'll definitely let's see how long you are. Let's see how big you are. But I think halfway through round one, I think they're going to go. I think both men are going to go. So that's interesting. So that was my first question. Betting on a heavy favorite in the main event. My second question. There's not one. There's two high-level big female fights on the pay-per-view. Does female MMA get the action that male MMA gets on the betting sides?
Pending names. I mean, female fighters' names are such a big key when it comes to action. We have a married couple fighting on this card, so in which they're very popular on social media. So I think both of those fights are gonna get action, and I can guarantee you that storyline will make it on TV when we're watching it. That a married couple, so that will get late action when people are at home. They'll open up their ass, maybe root for the married couple, maybe root against the married couple. That's a nice angle when it comes to us as odds makers and sports books and stuff like that. So this card will get some good female action, but namesake has to be big if you want some female action. Like some of the, I hate to say, some of the undercard female fights, everyone's just betting the over round prop.
Yeah. Okay. With that being said, Kayla Harrison might be one of the biggest, if not the biggest female name in the UFC. She's only fought for him once. Media day, I got some of my friends telling me she was the rage. Like Alex doesn't talk a lot. Rountree doesn't talk a lot. Pena is kind of cringe. Kayla Harrison was the darling of media day today. She is a heavy, heavy favorite, Rafael. What do you do on that? Do you want action on the other side? Do the books think that Kayla's going to run through her? So, that's why she's one of the biggest favorites of the year. What do you do with a Kayla Harrison?
Yeah, even the round prop to over 2.5 at -150, -160. I think this fight goes probably pretty early. I don't see this seeing that one. So I think there's actually value on the under 2.5. If you're gonna look at this fight, I think there's really good value on under. But this fight, of course, we'll see a lot of parlay action on her and Pereira. I can guarantee you there's gonna be a lot of 2-team parlays between Pereira and her on the card, because you said it. This is big name card, but a quiet card. And I mean quiet card as personality wise. There's no one. Pena ripped Pennington for not promoting the fight, because that's not her. I mean, no disrespect. Some people are just not like that. Some people are just there to fight, collect a paycheck, go home. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I respect trying not to go outside your box, outside your norm. That's why people say, hey, how come you don't host the show, Rafael? You're gritty, all this stuff. I'm not a host. I love doing interviews. I love people. Hey, can you come on my show? Fantastic. I am all in. So I understand that aspect of this fight at Utah. Big names, but quiet names. And this one right here, I heard that too. It's funny how you said that. I was reading some text messages and it said she stole pretty much the press conferences, and she's going to steal the whole weekend.
Yeah, it's her. I think even like the press conference. Press conference has all 5 main cards. Jose Aldo is a living legend. Literally, Pereira is the man. And Pereira is a social media darling in his own right, but he doesn't talk a lot. Same thing with Jose Aldo. As much as he's a legend of the sport, living legend, still fighting, the man never talks. Like he's a great guy. He even did that boxing card for Game Bread 3 years ago for Milwaukee. The guy was super nice, but he never talked. Like that's just not his shtick. So it is going to be the Kayla Harrison show tomorrow.
Pereira talks this way. That's how he talks. He doesn't need to talk.
That is true. All right. One thing we love to do here in Fight Bananas Land are underdogs. Is there one that you are eyeing, or one that you are surprised with? There's one I got for you. So I'm intrigued to see if you're going to say the same guy that I am. Who's an underdog?
Court McGee. That's it
Okay.
opened up the means open up a minus 235 favorite. Right now he's minus 190 and dropping. So I was too busy snoozing, doing all my other shows and my morning stuff that I do now on TV that I missed a good number. But I think it's a nice live dog here, and it's an early fight. So I'm hoping this number doesn't continue to drop because it's early. I think the main card is going to get the abundance of great action between a public and sharp action. So I'm hoping it still stays. I can get plus 170, 165 on that one. But I like Court McGee. I think it's a nice live dog.
I like it. I like it. My dog of the whole card, also on the prelims. I just saw him at plus 175. I like Wonder Boy Thompson to upset this
I
train
knew
that
you were
wants
going to
him
say that.
buckled.
I
Like
knew.
To me, the fight's gonna be over, and he's gonna win via decision because he will just control the distance and dance. He will jab. He will make Buckley uncomfortable and just out of sorts. Veteranship, and I think Wonder Boy knows it too. Like he can't afford a couple losses. Like he's so long in the tooth. One or two losses, it's almost what does he do next? He needs to win to kind of stay relevant and get big fights. I think it's crazy to say this. It's actually one of my best plays, one of the best spots I like on the whole card.
I agree. And the price you're getting, Wonder Boy, it's funny. I'll use another boxing analogy. He's so lengthy, both
Yes.
on his arms and legs.
Right.
He doesn't have to land those kicks. That kicks that doesn't land, he's measuring, not
Yeah.
just for his feet, but
Yeah.
he's measuring both. I've never seen a fighter that can measure four ways. Two of his punches and his kicks. It's phenomenal watching it. And people are like, why is he kicking right there? He's not even close to hitting up. I mean, really, you don't understand what he's doing right now. It's just I love the live dog, especially at the price. Grab the plus 190, plus 185 on there because I think Buckley money is going to continue to come in too. So I don't think a lot of dog money are on there because I think your people are going to realize that maybe he is long underneath the tooth and maybe his better days are behind him right now. So I think I love that play just because of his fighting style. I think doesn't mix well with Buckley.
Exactly. And I definitely think Wonder Boy is definitely long in the tooth. His best years are definitely behind him. I'm just not, maybe it's a fault of mine. I do have a little I just don't think Buckley's as good as what he is right now. His hype and the aura is. And I think Wonder Boy is not as bad as what people think. I don't know. I love the matchup too. It's about a matchup thing. Another guy, he's a slight favorite on the card, first fight in the pay-per-view. Give me Kevin Holland all day long. I feel like Kevin Holland can win this fight 9 different ways. Roman can just win it one way, to be brutally honest. And Kevin Holland, I was thinking he was going to be 220, 225. The last thing I saw, he's only minus 150. So I think there is great value on Kevin Holland.
And it's a quiet bet fight too. I mean,
Yeah.
he opened up at minus 150, and so not money's coming in on either side. So normally, like right now, we'll do these interviews on pay-per-views, and I'm talking about a 25, 30-cent move. And this one's only moved a nickel. So this one's a very quiet card. I don't understand this because you're 100% correctly. He could win a million different ways, and it would not shock me how he won this fight. Holland, I always have to cheer for him because he's an influence for my bookie, and he always corresponds with me back and forth. He's super nice guy.
Good.
So I always like to root for people who are respect and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I love that fight. It's like I said, this fight card is so good. I mean, I had to pick the worst nights to have a good card when I have so much else on TV. Why can't this fight card be last weekend?
It's funny. So I got 2 last things for you, not an unfight related in a way, I guess. My first thing is we talk about it all the time, and they do a lot of pay-per-views in Perth, in Brazil, in Shanghai, whatever it is. And last week they were in Paris. I know it wasn't a pay-per-view, but this is in Salt Lake City. It's in the West Coast there. I would assume they're going to get normal action, right? They get more action when the pay-per-views in America. Is that right?
Yeah, they'll get more. And people think, well, why is it in Utah? They're not getting that many. I guarantee you, people are driving to Vegas, are going to Vegas, get there, and then drive to Utah. I mean, because this is not that far of a drive. When I lived full time in Vegas, I did the drive many times to go see the Jazz play or the Utes play or stuff like that. So it's not that far of a drive. And like I said, it's if you want action, trust me, MMA bettors will find ways to bet on fights.
And guys, we all have that funny thing on our phone. That's how most bets are made. Secondly, we talked about it off the rip, and let's have a fun and talk about it for the last minute or two. This is one of the busiest weekends of the year, and we have a couple different. We are doing a major live show for UFC 307, but it's so funny. My brother's coming in town. I got my sons are into wrestling. There's so many going on. I'm like, guys, I can't. The Yankees are playing. I'm a big Yankee guy. They're Saturday night. The Royals just won. They're playing them. There is so much action. When there's such a busy weekend, does it hurt a UFC pay-per-view of action, or UFC has its own major niche and its own even MMA? I know a lot of people that just bet on fights. Like, they don't bet on football or baseball. They bet on the UFC or a PFL. Do you think that because the weekend's so busy, some will get lost on it, or no, you think it will be okay?
With the names on this card, I think it'll be okay. But I think the sport of MMA, not just UFC, I'm talking PFL, MMA, and I'm gonna add boxing into that, because let's face it, we're all combat sports. We have to throw in back, and I'll even throw the big four major pay-per-views of WWE. I'm even throwing them into the mix of combat sports, because we're all one big, I hate to say family because it's kind of cliche, but a big event like this with names that are on here, it'll do fine in the MMA betting community. I agree. I know so many people that just bet MMA, boxing. It's just a combat sport era, so this will do fine. I wish Georgia and Alabama were playing this weekend, because I would have liked to see the TV ratings matching up with that big SEC battle going against UFC, Utah, and stuff like that. Because when you have that big of a marquee, ABC and ESPN sold the heck out of that game. For a whole week. So I would have loved to see a match. I'm not just saying there's horrible football games during a time slot of UFC, but Bad Blood is pretty much on the same time. Come on, UFC and WWE, you guys own each other. Can't you find a different day? Give me a break.
You see how they did put it up I think even the main card's 2 hours early. The Bad Blood starts at 6 p.m. The pre-show's at 5 because they want to get done before the pay-per-view. Last funny thing, we'll roll after this, guys. Do you think we're going to see a major return Saturday around 9:30, 8:30 for Bad Blood? And if you do, who do you think it is? Are we going to see a Brock Lesnar? Are we going to see The Rock? Are we going to see something big at Bad Blood?
No, I don't think. If there's one big, maybe another Bloodline member will show up, and it's not going to be Jey Uso. It's not going to be one of them, or maybe someone that I heard just got signed for WWE that has Bloodline ties. But we're not going to see Brock Lesnar. We're not going to see anything. We'll see some storylines be created at Bad Blood. Is Tiffany going to give her briefcase? Is she going to cash it in? We're going to see some storylines created because we have War Games coming up. So that's why I think I'll send you my link and you can share it with your family. Me and the coach broke down a little Bad Blood betting the other day. So I think that goes live tomorrow. So
what's the CM Punk line?
I think it's betting up to minus like 1,200, minus 1,300. This is a case where Punk, I don't want to say he needs to win, and Drew McIntyre doesn't need to win. He's a great heel and stuff like that. I think he doesn't need to. Punk does.
Punk does, because with me, and I know we're rolling, guys. I'm sorry. We'll talk off air about this, but I'll finish my last thought. I think Punk, this win catapults him into, if it's Rollins is next or Gunther. He already kind of called out the Gunther. I do think he's going to have a nice little Gunther 3-month run, and then we'll get into Rollins for Mania. But all right, guys.
Hey, we can talk about this. The companies own each other. We can talk about wrestling.
Yes, I know.
The companies own each other.
Dude, we are so close of getting a WWE show on Fight Pass. We are so close. So many people talk to me about it and love it. So I think we'll get to it soon. Rolf, end the show. Where can people find you? What's going on with you? Sell some, make some money. What are we doing here?
You can find me over at DocSports.com. You can find me over on Instagram at Rafael Esparza. You can find me over on X at VSI Doc Sports. You can find me 4 days a week on Amazon Prime and YouTube TV on Driving the Line every morning from 9 to 10. And then every primetime football game on Amazon Prime and YouTube TV an hour before those games. I have an hour show called DTL The Prime. So you can find me on there as well.
There we go. And guys, every I believe in the morning it usually drops. I love Rafael Esparza gives a free pick almost every single day, if not every single day. Definitely check him out on IG. All right, guys, enjoy UFC 307. We at Fight Finance will be doing a live show. So if you don't want to buy the pay-per-view, if you want to watch Bad Blood and the Yankees win their first round of the playoffs and watch on your computer or on your phone, we'll be kind of breaking down 307, watching it. So save some money. Come, watch the show with us. All right, guys, we'll see everyone.